So, okay, so today we are going to make one of, where is it? One of these. So this is a double slider card. Okay, so you pull it out and it comes out the other side. It's like magic. And you can get a bit giddy with it. Yeah, and I've been making these for a few years now, but I've kind of tried to simplify it as much. When I first started making it, like the way the tutorials that some people had, it was so like, oh, I don't understand that. Okay, so to show you what I mean by you can make much more exciting journals, this is the first journal I ever made, which was what, 18 months ago now. Wow. This is one that I showed to Lou, and she said, you need to do some lives for us. And that was because I met Lou at Hochanda when I used to do the lives there. Anyway, shut up, Dave. Too much information. Moving on. So in here, there's like lots of like interesting things, and the reason why I wanted to just give this a show is because this is what inspires me to do different things. So to be a bit more creative with things. So like, for instance, here there's a flippy up bit with my bucket list in. Let's go to New York in there. That's not going to happen anytime soon, is it? I'll show you this quickly as well. I know you're not here for this, but these are the kind of things that we're going to go through over the course of the next few weeks. So this is a map fold with literally a map in it. So I'm just going to show you how to do different things to make your journals a bit more exciting. Oh gosh, I'm rubbish at tying a knot as it is without lots of people watching me tie a knot. I can't remember what's in here, to be fair. There's just like pockets and tucks and all sorts of things in here. Okay. Then there's things that just this isn't really kinetic, but then there's one of these in here, one of these, remember these boards that you used to get, and you write on and then you do this and then it clears off. Yeah, clear off. Yeah, that one. And then there's this, one of these twist and pop cards. It doesn't really close very well, but it opens better than it closes. Okay. So, and then I'll show you the reason why I'm showing you this is because I have one of those in here. So I have one of those double slider cards in here. It's not been finished. The reason why it's not been finished is because I kind of think if you finish something, it's completely, like if you finish every page, it's completely finished. And I don't want to completely finish this because I don't want to give this journal up. This is mine, I think. Psychologically, I kind of don't ever want to complete it. So anyway, that's that. So that's my first journal. So this is another thing I just wanted to show you. These are other things. This is my experiment journal. So just having kinetic things to play with type things in here. So having journal cards that pull out like this and then push down like this, so they make it's just a bit more exciting. You know, we've got like all of those things that you expect to have, little slidey open windows, etc. Tucky pockets. This hasn't got very much kinetic stuff in it yet, because that's what I'm going to do with you. Okay, so anyway, this is completely, like you can tell that I haven't done anything in that. So let me show you what you need to do. Are people still with me? Right. 18 people. Ooh, pressure's on. Okay. What you are going to need is you're going to need some board. Okay. So this is that mount board stuff, not the foam stuff. Just the thick cardboard stuff. If you don't have this, then just get some craft card or any card, for instance, and just layer it up until it's fairly thick. You need it to be, let me get my little ruler out, the one that makes me look like a giant. It needs to be at least 1 millimetre in thickness, and the reason for that is you need a bit of rigidity to it. Rigidity. The other thing you can do is, this is not me doing it for you, but you can, if you layer up a page of a book, like, so these are all going to be like journal cards eventually, then it turns it quite thick. Stick a couple of those together and you've got the equivalent of a mount board. Just a bit of a tip you can do. Okay, so your piece of card you're going to need to cut. Now I've already cut mine because I don't think anybody wants to see me try and cut this live. Okay, because Brian already flinches as it is. Brian's here, by the way, today. Brian already flinches when I try and do this, and without being live, he thinks I'm going to lose a finger or an eye or an arm.
Or all of them.
Or all of them, all of the above. So this piece of card needs to be 3 this way. This is in inches. Now, you know, if you're metric, hard luck. Because
then you're way too young to be on this live.
Yeah. Then what are you doing here? You don't know that you're not hanging with the right people. It needs to be 3 by 6 inches. Most rulers have both on them anyway. So if you're struggling, then you're on your own. You struggle on your own. So it needs to be 3 by 6 inches. Okay. So you'll need the piece of card. Then what you need to do is, here's one you made earlier. Again, cutting pieces. You're going to need to measure in half an inch from each side. Half an inch, half an inch, half an inch, and then half an inch in, and you're going to need to cut a notch out, okay, of both ends. Okay, so that's it. Okay, that's the only cutting on this bit that you need to do. Sorry, Brian's tearing in the background. That's done it. The old ones are the best. That's why I'm still here. So what you'll get is like an H with a weight problem. So that's the only way I can describe it. That's like an H. No, it looks like an H.
It does look like an H.
Okay. So you'll get an H. Okay. The next thing you are going to need is you are going to also need 2 pieces of cardboard that I've already cut here that you need to cut. So like when you're talking this bit, you need to have it at least a millimeter thick. Yeah. On these pieces, you need to have a bit of rigidity to it. You want to be thinking about 280, 300 GSM for these in order for them to have the right kind of rigidity. And these need to measure 2 3/4 inches this way by 5.5 inches this way. Now these are the measurements you'll need if you're making this size. If you want to make it bigger, you want to make it smaller, then you can upsize or downsize from there. Okay, but you'll need 2 of these, and all I've done is measured those, cut them, and all I've done then is just rounded off the ends of just 2 ends. You don't need to round these ends off because they'll be inside the card and you won't see them. So 2 pieces of card, remember, that are 280 to 300 GSM, that measure 5.5 inches by 2 3/4 inches. Okay, so the other thing you will need is 1 piece of card, okay, that you have, it needs to be about 240 GSM, too thick and you'll make it hard for yourself to like fold it. So 240 I would say is about the right thing. 280 can be a bit limp. So this needs to measure 8 inches by 6 inches. So the 6 inches is so this will be the shroud. That's a good word, isn't it? The shroud that goes around this. Okay. So this needs to be 8 by 6, and then you need to score it at the 3-inch line, the 3 and an 8. Try that again. 3-inch line, the 3 and an 1/8 inch line, the 6 and an 1/8 inch line, the 6 1/4 inch line. Should we try that again? The 3-inch line, the 3 and an 1/8 inch line. Oh, I can't do that.
Do it again.
The 6 and an 1/8 inch line, and the 6 1/4 inch line. Now, this is the reason why I went over to metric, because you don't have to do and in those things. But in this, we're just going to use metric for now. And
No, we're just going to use inches for now.
sorry, yeah, we're going to use imperial, not inch. Oh, I've confused myself. Okay, so, and the reason for that is, sorry about the dog barking in the background. That's the 3 inch, the 3 1/8. Okay, because then you get a 3 inch part and a 3 inch part with some little sides of a millimetre high. Okay, so let me now show you the next thing that you're going to need. You're going to need a piece of polythene. Okay, so this is that really, you know, when you buy like a I don't know, a jumper or something that's like mail order, and they sometimes come in this kind of polythene-y stuff. It's the way that old carrier bags used to be, the stuff that old carrier bags used to be made of. Okay, so it's this sort of stuff that you need. Okay, so I actually keep. So I'm sorry for those people that already hoard things, because you're gonna be like, oh, I need to keep that plastic bag. So this one I wouldn't use. So the reason why I'm not going to use this is, I don't know whether you can see here, it's kind of got like stretch and it's got some holes in it. That isn't going to move, because what this is the bit that wraps around here and that moves backwards and forwards. So I'm not going to use this. I'm going to cut live on TD. Dave is going to take a leg off. No, I'm not. Luckily, you'd be pleased to hear. Right, now I'm going to put this on here, and the reason I'm going to put this on here, because I'm comfortable cutting it like this. If you want to cut it with a blade, cut it with a blade. If you don't, then don't. Sorry, I forgot to tell you how wide this needs to be. It needs to be 2 inches. So your polythene needs to be 2 inches wide, and it needs to be 10.5 inches in length. Okay, so I know that this is 12 inches in length, so I'm just going to cut it to 2. I can hear my dog whining in the background.
There'll be somebody in the street.
Yeah, somebody in the street with a dog. How dare they? How dare they? You people that have dogs and walk them. It's like, you know.
Past our house.
Yes, past our house. Yes. Well, I say our house. My house. You live somewhere else, Brian.
I meant our house is in you and the dog.
Brian's just moved in, I think. So, going to cut the ends off because we only want one side of this. Are you with me? I don't know whether am I explaining this okay, Brian?
I don't know. People are quite enjoying themselves.
Okay.
Somebody said, Karen Gatlin, Karen. I'm not the pheasant plucker. So she was obviously getting the whole, not getting your words out.
No, you don't want me to do I'm not the pheasant plucker. I could do Peter Piper picked a pecker, pickle pepper. Where's the pecker, pickle pepper, Peter Piper picked? I can do the peas.
And yet he can't tell you an imperial measurement.
I can tell you an imperial measurement. I just can't say it. It's 3 1/8, 6 1/8, and 6 1/4. No. Right, okay.
I'm going to be challenged.
Yes, it's a challenge. That's what it is. So when you're getting your polythene, you want to make sure that it's nice and smooth. If you've got something that's really crinkled up, it's not going to move very well. Okay. So I've got my polythene now, and I've cut it, and it's a bit longer than my 10.5. In fact, I don't know. I'd measure it, but can't work out my board. That's because it doesn't have it. No, it hasn't. Oh, it's the middle. No. Hang on. Shut up, Dave. What do you know? It's actually 11.5. 11.75 to be fair. Yeah, so 11.75. So, not worried about it being too long. You just don't want it to be too short. Okay, so that's what we've got. So we've got our components. We've got our piece of polythene, which we remember is 2 inches wide by 10.5 inches at least long. We've got our H board, the strong board, at 3 inches by 6 inches with a 1/2 inch notch cut out, spaced 1/2 inch from either side, and then 2 pieces of card at 280 GSM measuring 5.5 by 2 3/4 inches, and we have our shroud. Brian's like already taken the mickey out of me today for saying wool. We bought a wool today, and he said it's a cob. So, because he's right northern.
It's only a bool if you're on holiday in France.
So remember, this piece measures 8 inches by 6 inches, and it's scored at 3 inches, 3 1/8 inch, 6 1/8 inch, and 6 1/4 inches.
Crowd goes wild.
You're also going to need some double-sided tape. Okay.
Oh no, don't have that.
Okay. You can use glue, but it doesn't. I don't find it sticks very well. When you try and stick anything to polythene, you'll kind of know what I mean in a minute. Okay. So, what we're going to do, first of all, we're going to wrap our polythene around this. Now, I just want to say about polythene, make sure it's the soft stuff, not this stuff that crinkles. If it's crinkly plastic, it will work, but it won't work as well. You'll find it's a bit jarring and it has less movement to it. You're looking for something that's soft and silky, a bit like me. Then what we need to do is we're going to wrap this round here and we're going to stick it. But before we do that, if you have it to hand, if you don't worry too much about it. But this is one of those tumble dryer sheets. Give it a wipe over with a tumble dryer sheet, because this has...
What about a static bag? Would that work?
A static bag will put... So Brian's just asked, would a static bag work? But a static bag will put powder on it, and the problem is you don't want it to be powdery, because it'll give you resistance, so it'll add friction to it. What you're doing with this is one of these tumble dryer sheets. They're impregnated with silicone, and silicone will give you a nice slide. If you don't have any of this and you've got one of those instant polish shoe polish things, put a tiny bit, and I mean a tiny bit, right, don't get giddy with it, put a tiny bit of that onto a tissue or a piece of kitchen roll and give that a wipe over it. And all you're trying to do is give it a bit of a shinier surface for it to glide nicely. Okay, the other thing you can use is you can use a bit of wax, so rub a bit of candle over it. Don't get too giddy, and make sure the candle is not alight. For anybody that's seen me burning shoe polish on YouTube, I still have my hair. Well, I didn't have it in the first place, but I still have the hair on my eyebrows. So what you're going to do is you're going to need to make yourself a piece wide enough. Now, we know that this is 2 inches wide, so if I was sensible about this, I'd measure this. But measure. But what's that measure? Sorry?
Sensible.
Yeah. I'm going, what? Measure? And Brian's going, what? Sensible? Thanks, Brian, for the vote of confidence. It doesn't have to be accurate, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to stick it on one end, right? So butt it up as close as you can get to the end, yeah? Because you just want as much manoeuvrability as you can. So it's really hard for me to show you, but if you can see that, yeah? So it's like about 1 millimetre away from the side. So I'm using imperial and metric at the same time without a safety net. Get me. Drum roll, please. It sounds like you're whipping someone, Brian. So peel the back off your double-sided tape, and then what you want to do is you want to have it quite, don't be too slack about it. You don't want slack, Alice. You want don't drop it there. You want it to be fairly taut but not tight. So you don't want it to be bending up at the edges. Yeah, you want it to be fairly taut though. I'm teaching you, so it has to be taut. Okay, and I've got a bit of a wrinkle in mine. Try not to get a wrinkle in yours. Okay, and then cut off a little bit of your excess. Don't cut it down too short. Okay, so what you should now have is you should have a little thing that goes moves one way and then the other. Okay, it might not move really well because if your fingers are covered in silicone, you'll end up sliding all over it as well. So that's it. So we've made basically the technical bit. Okay, so then we've got these bits. Now you just have to think logically about this. Okay, if you're going to stick, so you want this join to be as close to that bit as possible. Yeah, without it being bending round. So if you can see, it's as close to as one end as possible without it bending round. Yeah, and you're going to stick this bit on so that it lines up with this edge, because that's the edge that's going to poke out from the card. So if you look at this, when you pull it, that's this edge. This edge is sticking out from this card. Yeah. Okay. So we need to stick it to about there. Okay. So what we need to do is don't put the tape on the back of the card. The reason for that is when you stick it down, what you're going to end up doing is sticking it to the card either side. What you need to do is put a piece of tape on the polythene. So stick it again over that same bit that you can still see. If you've used, it doesn't have to be transparent. If nobody sees the workings of it, if you've got a piece of polythene that works that's white, or it might be a bit off a black sack, or like a rubbish sack, then use that. Whatever works, just make sure it's not the crinkly kind. Not the crinkly kind. So Brian said I've got a crinkly face earlier, so it's age comes to us all. So when you're sticking it, you want to line it up so that you're going to guess it. Line it up so it's kind of in the middle this way, and it's kind of lines up with that edge. Yeah, make it nice and square, and then stick it down. And because I've done the measurement for you, it should butt up to this end, but also be on this end. Now what you've got is you've got this part that pulls this way. Yeah. The reason why you want this card to be fairly rigid is because you've got to think you're both pulling on it and pushing it, and it's the pushing action that you'll find if your card isn't stiff enough, it'll end up doing this, and you'll never be able to get back in. Okay, so then what you've got to think about is if I'm pulling this out and I want the other one to go that way, then you also now flip it over. You need to butt this edge up to here and put your glue on this side. So if you've done the left hand first, the next side will be the right hand when you flip it over. If you've done the right hand first, it'll be the left side. Okay, I'll see what I mean in a minute. So again, butting this up fairly close to this edge. You kind of want to get your tape as far along the edge as you can, because it just helps with the movement of it. Brian's just nearly gone over, I think.
No, chocolates now just went over.
All right, nearly knocked the chocolates over. Don't knock the chocolates over. Fall, but don't knock the chocolates over. Save the chocolates, not you, Brian.
I did, don't worry.
Okay, so now you just have to bear with me for like 3 days while I try and get the backing off of this. Okay, do not use a knife unless you're skilled at using a knife, because otherwise you might lose something. You might start 2021 with less than you thought, and it isn't. You might have lost some weight, but that's because you lost something off you. So I'm just putting a little bit of extra tape down because I need it to go across fairly well, and I didn't measure the tape. You can, of course. 3 days later, Dave gets the backing off. Oh, it's a bit stuck to me now. So again, remember, it's going to butt up against this edge. Yeah, you're going to guess it in the middle. So you're going to try and get it in the middle as much as you can, and butt it up against this notch here. So are we in the middle, Dave? No, not quite. Sorry for getting my bonce in the way. Head, that is, by the way, in case anybody doesn't know what a bonce is. You're thinking, oh, didn't see his bonce, did you? It means your head. Okay, So it's roughly in the middle. It's fine. So now what we have is oh, don't do that, Dave. We have a card that does this. Yeah, simple. Simples, as they say. So you can choose whatever you like. You could have something that's a bit... This is a bit... floral for me. I couldn't think of the word. Or you can use whatever you like. You can use up some of your old 12 by 12 paper, card stock, sorry. But just make sure you have a bit of rigidity. 240 GSM for this you'll need. Okay. So the next bit is about not sticking it into the cut. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to glue this and this because you'll never get it out. Okay. So the other thing to help you aid it get it out, you don't have to do this. You could, if you want to. So on this one, I've got a notch. Yeah. On yours, you might choose to have. You might want to put a hole in it with a rivet in it. Okay, with a piece of what's it called? I don't know. A piece of something. Pieces of 8. Pieces of 8. No, not pieces of 8. String. That's the word. String. I got there in the end. I'm just gonna have a sip of my coffee because maybe that's what I need. Oh, my coffee's welded to the desk. Right, sorry. I have to kind of like get it off my beard as well, otherwise it'll drip down. Nobody wants coffee drips on everything. So you might choose to put a rivet in it, or you might want to put a notch in it. And the way I just cut a notch is I just take the shroud, choose which side you want your notch, okay, and then I use one of these big circle punches. You could cut it out. You don't have to use this. You could draw around, you know, you could draw around a, I don't know, a piece of washi tape, draw around it and then cut around it, but try and cut both sides of it at the same time in the same place. Same time, same place. And I'm just going to line that up there just for speed. I'm going to do it this way.
Just for speed, I'm going to wreck it there.
Or maybe not. Where's that safety net when you need it? I might as well try and do a tightrope walk because it'll be safer. I don't know. It's because my hands are so slippy from that silicone. So, line it up like this. Try this again, Dave. And, yeah, squeeze. Every time I do that, I have to kind of close my eyes and lean away. So, no, Dave, it didn't go in there. It doesn't go in there either. It goes in there. Oh, you're still with me, folks?
Okay. Yeah, lots of them.
Cool. Okay, so now we've got a little divot out of here. Okay, and that just means that it'll aid you like this one does. It just gives you something to grab hold of. Otherwise,
it'll age you.
It'll doing this live today. It'll age me. It'll age you watching me. Otherwise, if you were trying to like get in there and get your fingers in, it's going to be difficult to do. So that's why either put a you know, a hole in it, so you could use like a hole punch or a crocodile, and so for the benefit of you guys, just no, do it that way, Dave, because then you can see which way around it is. Okay, so just pull it out a bit, makes it easier. So I'm just going to do both. I'll put that in there, make a hole near the edge. Dig a hole. So, Brian, could you just pass me a rivet? Rivet. Not a frog, just a rivet. Sorry, my glamorous assistant is going to pass me a rivet shortly. And I hope you're all prepared. Oh, hang on, that might be a bit big. Oh, hang on. Is there a smaller one?
A smaller one?
No, that's all right. Well, I made the hole too small. All right. I'll use what I've got. I'll use what I've been given.
You'll have to.
Just need to make the hole bigger.
You'll have to. That's all there is.
Okay. So.
Yep. Sauce.
So I'm just going to make this hole bigger. Sorry, folks. My crocodile has developed a squeak as it does it. It goes right through me. Okay, so remember, if you're going to have it, there's a definite up and a definite down, because this side is your back side of that front one, if you understand what I mean. So I'll show you. I'm trying to think, how the heck am I going to explain that? I've just put my crocodile away and I need it again. 3 hours to try and work out how to undo it, Dave. That's not going to help you. So we want... Sorry, I've changed my rivets. Rivet the base, Dave. Sorry, I'm just going to do that. Try and do that in camera. Okay, there we go. We've got a rivet in it now, which means that you can now put a nice piece of thread through it. You could put a tassel on it, whatever you wanted to do. Okay, so we've made this bit, okay, and now we've come to the shroud. So remember, we've measured it and we've scored it in those places that Dave can't say, although I've now proved that I can say it. So yeah, okay. So nah to you. And what you don't want is, you don't want this shroud to be too close fitting. If you look at this, it kind of like pyramids, so it slopes up at the edges, and that's because you don't want this to be really tight fitting, because if you make the shroud too tight fitting, it'll make the movement impossible to slide in and out. It doesn't matter how much silicone you've put on it, it will make it impossible. So what you're now going to do is you're now going to glue along this edge and this edge. Now you can either do that with some tape. You'd need to cut your tape in half and then just wrap it over the edges, or you can use like a 3-in-1 style glue, or Yoo-hoo or Oohoo if you're in some parts of the world. We in the UK we call it Yoo-hoo, and apparently in America you call it Oohoo. So there we go. But that's like we say aluminium and you say aluminum. And we say potato and you say potato. Let's call the whole thing off. That's a lyric from a song, by the way. If anybody's watching that's thinking, what on earth is he talking about? What you want to do is you want to kind of glue it down this side and a little bit on either facing side, but not getting too close to the mechanism. Because what you don't want is, you see how that's quite a big lump there? You don't want that big lump of glue, because if that squeezes this way, it'll stop the mechanism from working. So it's a bit fiddly, but it's fiddly and worth it. Okay, so that's on there, and we're doing this side. So yes, so just generally talking, how you're all preparing nicely for New Year. I realise it might not be the New Year that you wanted, but you know, at least you don't have to embarrass yourself going to a party and singing Auld Lang Syne and not knowing the actual words. There aren't many people that actually know what the words are, other than "For old acquaintance be forgot, for the sake of Auld Lang Syne." And that's it. And then you go and hope somebody else knows the words to cover you up. Or is it just me? It's just you. So I
thought they were the words.
Yeah. Or you sing ABBA Happy New Year, and that's the same. So not the same words, obviously, it's just the same, that you don't know what you're singing about. Okay, now the short side I have on the outside, okay, because I like the look of it. If you want to put the short side on the inside, you put the short side on the inside. Okay, so all you're doing now is you're just making sure that that kind of adheres to something. So somewhere along that edge it will adhere. It will adhere here or here. The exits are located here, here and here. basically it's just anchoring it at some point. You're not worried about whereabouts it's sticking, as long as it anchors at some point inside. Yeah. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue this edge down. So, gluey glue, gluey glue. You have to do gluing to the sound of the A-Team theme tune, apparently. Well, in my head, that's what it makes. It all makes sense in my head. That's the problem. Everything makes sense in my head. Okay, so just stuck that down, and now we should have, we do, a working slider. And it's honestly, it's easy. People just stay clear of these things because they think, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. Look, I can't get the pin in the end of my glue, but I can make a slider card. So you can put them in all sorts of things. You can put them in a greetings card. How nice would that be to send to someone? Now, I sent one to my mum. I sent two now to my mum. One that just said Happy Mother's Day, and the other one said, I love you this much, and it just had hands either side. So like you were saying, I love you this much, which, you know, it's lovely. You know, you start off with little hands here, and you think, oh, that much, and then you pull it out, and it gets wider. So... And you could make this as wide as you want to. You've just got to think about the mechanics of it. If you're going wider, your card will need to be stiffer. And if this card is stiffer, then your baseboard will need to be stiffer to be able to hold the mechanism. Yeah. And then your shroud just needs to be, you know, wider, basically. You can go as big, you can go wide, you can go big, or you can go home. So that wasn't bad. That's 40 minutes of me explaining it to you. Literally, I can knock these out in a few minutes, can't I?
I can.
So let's put a tassel on this then, Brian.
Go on then.
Let's put a tassel.
Tassel it up.
Tassel it up. Tassel it. Where's that? I said to Brian yesterday, this string, it's in my way. Where can I put it? And I gave it to him, and I don't know where it is. So, we'll just kind of like, so how are you doing, folks? You having fun? Did that help? Are you kind of feeling less afraid of these things now? No. I think even Brian could make one.
Have you met me?
Are people coming to our live tomorrow? Remember, we're doing a New Year's Day live tomorrow. It might be again like Christmas Day, where it might be a little bit of Prosecco is involved. We're going to be making stuff out of packaging. Don't worry about it, Brian. Honestly, just pass me that green stuff on there. Cool, thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to use this because we can't find...
Do you know that tin that you can't find that's got all the embroidery thread in?
Yeah. What? This instead of this? No, oh yeah. And as if by magic.
As if by Brian lost it. Yeah, it's right in front
No,
of
I was
me.
talking about the other string as well, actually. So
what, the waxed string?
no, the baker's twine.
I can give you that as well. I know where that is.
All right.
That's in that box there.
Okay.
Do you want some of that?
No, it's all right.
See, I can put my hand straight to it.
Okay, so I was gonna. Shush.
Okay, shushing.
Shush. It's like the voices in my head are bad enough without having your voices in it. I don't get scared. Don't have voices in my head like that. I'm not like, you know, not like terrifying. I've got voices in my head. I'm just looking for something to wrap this round. Okay, so I'm just going to use... I'm going to try and make a tassel live. So, I don't know whether anybody knows how to make tassels.
With no safety net.
With no safety net. With no idea of what you're doing either. So, it's a long time since I made a tassel, is all I'm going to say. Alright, so I'm going to wrap that round and I'm going to cut that bit off there. I can't find my scissors, so... Brian, look away because I'm using a knife to cut things like that.
I'm just not watching. Can't do
Bit
it.
of green as well. Get a bit of green out. Anybody got anything that they've asked or said, or Brian's got the
Somebody likes the
device.
Union Jack tin.
All right. Yeah.
Somebody, Karen Gartland, very cleverly posted all the word to Old Lang Syne.
Oh. Did you Google them? Being honest, did you Google them? or did you type them in from verbatim from memory? Oh dear.
She did.
You don't think she did?
I don't think she did.
Brian is a disbeliever. So, some of you guys are now watching thinking, why are we watching him make a tassel? I don't know why you're watching me make a tassel. You can look away.
Somebody said it's like magic.
Yeah, it is.
Bev Lowe said, like magic.
Thanks, Bev. It is exactly like magic. Okay, so, Dave, we've just put this on the sharpest bit of metal you could find, which means that you're going to end up slicing it all in half. So, I'm going to wiggle this to the end.
Along with his fingers.
No, my fingers are all right.
They better be. We've got a live to do tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. I can do a live with one finger, surely.
I don't know.
Or one finger missing.
No, but then I have to spend the whole live going, can you just pass, with you just going, can you just pass me this? Can you just stick that to that? Can you just put your finger on here? No,
Can I just borrow your finger? Oh, I really need to, I know, folks, I know, I'm not a sewist, so I don't really care about my string, thread, whatever it is, gets. So, yeah, I know I should really do something about this and make it tidier.
But he won't.
But I won't. I know I should, but I won't. Yeah, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to pass that under there. I'm only trying to finish it off for you guys. I was going to decorate it, but I didn't know whether you were kind of... people go, oh, I don't want to see him decorate it.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Do you? Okay, yeah. Right. Well, you're going to have to bear with me while I try and thread this under here.
Karen says she's Scottish, so she knows them, but she googled them to clarify.
Oh right, okay. Oh yes, if you're Scottish, it's like law, isn't it? Don't they?
Oh, she lived in Scotland since 1971.
Yeah, it's law. You're not allowed to live in
You've
Scotland.
lived in Scotland since I was 2.
Yeah, I was 2. 2. Testing. 1, 2.
You were in a
2.
You were in a 2.
Probably.
That explains a lot.
It would explain a lot. Okay, so I'm just tying this off up here. I only used the metal so that it would give me a thing to work around, and now I'm regretting
Morning, y'all. Mariah.
Oh, morning. So, right, just tying it off, just so it's nice and firm. Peel that off and then just hold on to it. Hold on to it. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, blimey. Wilson Phillips. Wilson Phillips. I love that song. That's the thing that made Bridesmaids for me. So.
Oh, I love that film.
Yeah, Bridesmaids. Yeah,
I love that.
Might have to watch that again. So, can we watch that tomorrow?
We can watch that tomorrow.
Oh no, we're doing a live, so no.
We're not doing a live all day,
aren't we? 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time we are.
C3PO.
C3PO, yeah. This is the messiest I've ever done. Oh my god! Oh.
What you doing?
I'm trying to.
Besides making a mess.
Trying to make a mess live.
Live
mess. You too can make a mess like me. And snippy, snip, snippy, snip. Yeah, I was going to say, in Scotland, it's law, isn't it, that you have to know the words to Old Lang Syne, otherwise you get deported. So, I love haggis, though.
Will it be on the independence test when you go independent?
Oh, yeah. can I move to Scotland? I know a bit about Scotland. I know some of the words to All Around Time. Does that count? Don't know.
No.
I know enough to like get me past where everybody else is going.
Yeah, we like haggis, don't we?
Oh, I love haggis. Yeah.
I've never seen one in the wild, but
No, I haven't. No, I believe it's coming up to their season, isn't it? So you'll be chasing them. But like, I've never actually seen real spaghetti growing on trees.
no, me neither.
So,
We just get it when it's in the packet, don't
yeah, we don't get the fresh stuff, the real freshly picked stuff here.
we? Yeah.
Okay.
Guess you have to-
So, have you all enjoyed me trying to make a bodge job of that? Making that tassel. You're thinking, oh, I'm glad you tuned in for that. I was like, right made my day. Right made my day. I did tell you I was a bit giddy today, and if I'm a bit giddy, my hands don't stay still. So, I'll let my fingers do the talking. What advert was that from? So I'm going to snip this extra bit off. So hopefully it's, oh dear, it's not a very well tied on tie. So should have tied it the other way around. So now we've got a little tassel. So we've got our card. So you've got a tassel. So like I say, you don't have to cut a divot out. You can have it just so that you've got a tassel that you pull it by, but you'll need something because you don't want to be there trying to dig the bit of card out. And also, whoever you give it to, so if you gave it as a card, they wouldn't know unless you give them a clue that there is something to do. They'll go, oh, that was nice, and they'll have never opened it and they'll never see what your message was. So you can do it both sides. Now, what I want to just say is when you decorate it, don't get too layer heavy. Don't try and stick little notebooks on or like little embellishment. Like, it needs to be flat. The reason for that is, remember, it's got to slide back in, so you've got to have enough clearance on this bit. So enough clearance on the back, enough clearance on the front, and you don't want it to alligator, because once it starts alligatoring, it makes, sorry, digging it out the wrong side. It starts to warp the whole thing, and then it doesn't work. So. Did you notice here, I've got, these are like subliminal messaging for you. Do it yourself. Try it. Experiment. And then we've just got some things on the, yeah. We've got Hoyt's German cologne. That sounds nice, isn't it? Not. Hoyt. What have you got on today? Hoyt! So, like I say, I can knock these out in no time. Honestly, you can do it. So let's just go back and have a look at that journal that I showed you, the discombobulated one. This is my first journal for those people that have just joined. This was the first journal I ever made. This is the one that I showed to Lou Withers when I met her at Pachanda. And she encouraged me to come on and do lives for you.
Yellow pages. Let
your fingers do the walking. Yes, and it was like J.R. Hartley. That was another Yellow Pages advert. If you're not from the UK, you'll be thinking, what on earth are you talking about? I don't know. I have no idea what on earth I'm talking about. Anyway, I've just realised I didn't cut the bottom of my tassel, Brian.
Oh.
I didn't tassel me. I didn't tassellate my tassel. Tasselization. Nobody else said anything. Did anybody say, look, you didn't cut the bottom of your tassel off, Dave?
No.
There you go. When you do a tassel, you just
Put
need
a spot of glue on the knot on the metallic thread.
Yeah.
I
was just thinking that I should
Beverly,
do that.
that's a good tip. Thank you.
So when you just need to give it a bit of a haircut when you're doing a tassel.
Liz Wheeler says, dead clever like.
Dead clever like. Yeah. That's me. That's me. I am.
I think I just got an accent down to the ground. I don't know if that's what she
said. I don't know.
Clever like. Sorry, Liz.
Sorry, Liz. If you do sound like that, or if you don't.
Like you sound.
So yeah, just on this, you know, I really encourage people, if you've never junk journaled, junk journaling for me is a real thing of it's junk. So a lot of this stuff, like things like this, was found. So I like sticking found stuff into things. So, and making things look dirty and a bit, you know, like it's been junked. Okay, so remember, the reason why I showed you this is Brian's making reversing noises for some reason. I'm going to show you how to do this map fold at some point. Yeah. So it's just a little map fold. Travel and explore. That page is ironic at the minute, isn't it? Travel and explore your front garden.
Somebody's asking, what's the clasp on your journal recycled from?
This was actually a clasp that's for junk journaling. It was I think it was, what's her name, Wendy Vichy, and it was somebody that made it. Wendy Craig, yes. Love is like a butterfly, and soft and gentle as a sigh. The multicoloured moons of love are like its satin wings. There you go. So, I'm available for bar mitzvahs, funerals, weddings, bar and bar mitzvahs. So yeah, this is where I use that double slider. So if you were using a double slider in a card, you don't have to worry about making the shroud. All you need to do is make sure that you stick the sides down of your channel, okay, but you still need that substrate of that H shape to be able to let it slide nicely. And think about, so here I didn't rivet it, and I've now formed what looks like a keyhole, okay, of a hole. Okay, so just think about it when you're making these things. I've got things in here I didn't even know were in here. Well, that's because I haven't looked at this for a long time. Green Shield stamps, who remembers them? A tea bag full of words, what's it saying? I can't remember. I am fabulous. Sorry, not sorry. Don't judge me. My little magnet thing. Investigate moist morning wiener cream together. Yeah, leave that. What's the for?
Karen Gartland. My pal just delivered homemade steak pie for tomorrow's dinner. Where's that?
Yes, sharing is caring.
If we're doing deliveries, down here.
Yeah,
Come
up here.
Where
are we?
She's Scotland.
She's Scotland. Yeah, we are down here.
here.
So yeah, so just get creative, play, be experimental, okay, and try and like do things that are out of your comfort zone, because that the more things you do that are outside of your comfort zone, the bigger your comfort zone becomes, and the more things that you can do, whether you learn that you like doing it, or you learn that you don't like doing it, or you learn that you can do it, or you learn you can't do it. If you never try, you never know. So do it, have a go. I can't paint. The reason why I know I can't paint is I've tried. So I can't draw. How do I know I can't draw? Because I've tried. Okay, so just blimey, have you eaten all of them sweets?
Couldn't find the lid.
All those Brian couldn't find the lid to the chocolate, so he ate them all. That's a good excuse. You can try that one. That's free. So yeah, the next one that we're going to do is I'm probably going to show you. I'm not guaranteeing. I want to try and to make sure that I kind of make it easy for you. I'm going to try and show you how to do that. So the twist and pop style card.
Twist and pop.
Okay. And then we'll show you some other things as we go along. So other exciting, kinetic, mechanical, you-can-ical too. You heard it here first. Shut up, Dave. So basically, I'm just going to drink my coffee now. So.
Lots of people have said. Thank you, Ornament.
That was cold coffee. I took one for the team. I drank cold coffee for you guys. Have we got any questions? Any
No, lots of people are saying how fabulous it is. If there are questions, now's the time.
Yeah, so if
I'm actually
if you
looking at
want
the screen.
questions, now's the time. We've got 4 minutes until I've done an hour with you.
Tracy Ellison's going to have a go tomorrow.
Good, do it, Tracy. Anybody that Tracy and everybody that does it, that gives it a go,
Louise Cole, we will
show
see you
me,
tomorrow.
send me a link. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, then send me a link to it on your YouTube channel, or so that I can see your Instagram feed or your Facebook or whatever. I genuinely want to see anything that I've inspired anybody to make, because that's why I went into teaching. I was a teacher for many years so that I could inspire people, so that I could stop people thinking that they can't do something, and so that they can realise that they can do something, because you can do anything you set your mind to. I am Mr. Motivator. I'm not dressing in a leotard.
He does do one-to-one sessions.
I do one-to-one sessions, yes. Who's asking for one-to-ones?
Karen Garland.
Yeah, I'll happily do one-to-ones. I used to do one-to-one teaching sessions, so I'm happy. I've got a full DBS check as well, so
So he's safe.
so yes, so you're safe from my. I know not to screw with your mind in a mental sort of way. So, well, I know not to, but it doesn't mean to say I'm not going to. Anybody that spends any time with me, they're going to have some of this insanity is going to rub off on them.
Yep.
So, anyway, folks, I am going to love you and I'm going to leave you. But thank you very much for watching this today. Don't forget, we're doing a live tomorrow on BBC. What? No, we're not. One day we'll be. This is the BBC, and bringing to you today is Dave and Brian's live. So
Just remember.
So remember, it's the Queen's Teach tomorrow at 3 p.m. That's Greenwich Mean Time, so UK time. It'll be on the events. So come and have a watch of that. We're going to be doing more stuff, making stuff out of packaging material. And just remember, Brian.
Love is like a butterfly.
And just remember, love is like a butterfly. It's soft and gentle as a sigh. Anyway, remember what I say. I love you without exception until you give me a reason not to. You take care of yourselves. This is Dash of Dave. I'm signing off. You have a fantastic new year. Happy New Year to you. Go and learn the words to Auld Lang Syne. Sing them on your own, because you shouldn't be having any parties, you lot. I know all of you ravers. So enjoy. Have a lovely new year. Happy New Year. Happy 2021. We'll see you on the first day of 2021 as we mean to go on. As we mean to go on. 2021 as we mean to go on. Yeah, he's a poet and he doesn't know it. I'm off. Bye, folks. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Lovely to see you again. Big hugs. And I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Take care. Bye. Do, do, do. Love is like a butterfly.